Hello everyone and welcome to another Modswell video. I'm your host Maxwell. Today we are doing something long overdue and finally releasing my Fallout 4 Metro Load Order. Alternatively, you could make a few small adjustments and just call this a Winter Survival Load Order. The entire premise of this order is to enter us into a nuclear winter complete with all of the accompanying trials. By this I mean a necessity to pay attention to your surroundings, clothing and other heat sources. But more than this, you will need to consider the game's most annoying mechanic, rads. They have been made more extreme here, however, that will be made more manageable. For the winter aspect I'm using Fallout 2287 Nuclear Winter. This mod has a ton going for it, with new cold-based mechanics and injuries or illnesses based upon how cold it is and how long you have been out in that cold. These illnesses will hamper your progress significantly and cause death in the most dire of situations. To alleviate some of this and make it more manageable, I've chosen to use a few mods. The first is a plugin for Fallout 2287 known as Nuclear Winter Clothing. This mod will change up the barely covered clothing to something that bit warmer. It has a nice side effect of changing how the raiders' armors look as well. These bits of clothing have heat ratings that will help you wander around for longer. Alongside this, I'm also using Campsite. This mod will let you create mini campsites in the wilds complete with fires to warm you back up. It's definitely a well-known mod and plays perfectly into many styles of survival-based orders. Another addition I've made is called Subway Runner. No self-respecting Metro order could be without this, and it has some really helpful features too. In terms of roaming through the wintry landscapes, this order has a ton of extra mechanics to deal with. However, being in the tunnels helps to fix one of them. Naturally, being inside is going to be warmer, and this will help you get around a ton more effectively. It is however chopped with its own dangers, from enemies to its labyrinthian size, making it easy to get lost. Once you learn how to effectively navigate though, this is going to help you out a ton, especially when you consider just how poorly optimized some areas in this game actually are. This is going to allow you to bypass certain ones of those. To create the actual winter wonderland, I've opted for Seasons Winter All-in-One. There are a ton of solid options here, such as Ice Pick, Winter Overhaul, and actually quite a few more. But this one has my favourite look. And, as an extra bonus, it's also the lowest cost, which on Xbox is pivotal because 2GB really isn't much to play with. Seasons Winter covers just about everything. The grounds, roads, roofs, trees, and when coupled with Fallout 2287, a lot of the rest gets covered as well. For those who don't know, 2287 actually includes a ton of frost shaders for things like crops, which will help fill out a ton of the missing parts. There's still a ton that can't be done like it is on PC. For example, any winter edit that touches junk will leave these changes in interior cells as well. Xbox has no way of differentiating between internal or external. All it sees is junk. Another area missing is the external walls. I'm hoping this will be changed in the near future, especially if modders take up the challenge to delve further into what's possible on Fallout, which does have a ton of modding options, but when compared to Skyrim it is a bit short, and that difference is only getting more severe. For weather, I've chosen Calamity alongside its winter plugin. This look is not only insanely affordable, but fantastic, and has a huge amount of weathers I wanted to see, such as fogs, snows and blizzards. Largely that's what's on offer, but there is the occasional sunny day. This mod seeks to make the circles of what you can see somewhat lessened compared with other weathers. Personally, I love this, but if that is a problem for you, another option you can take is knack. This is because knack allows you to fully disable weathers, meaning you can edit it exactly how you want it to be. It is a little bit more costly, but it does also look that bit better. For ease, Calamity is a great choice though, and I'm extremely happy with this style. With a view to realism in combat, I've also decided to reuse my setup from the Zombie Load Order. I did this as that setup plays really nicely and doesn't cost a ton. Arbitration changes a lot, especially in terms of combat AI. Things like ranged fighters, moving to flank, and they're also now able to strafe to avoid damage. Companions will shoot first against hostiles, enemies will take cover until it's safer for them to peek and attack you. Other changes have happened too, which will make the game tougher and more realistic. Damage has been increased against you as well as the enemies. Molotovs will now kill by burning out the affected instead of just blowing them up. On top of this, fall damage has been increased and now comes with leg injuries should you fall from high enough. Alongside arbitration, I'm using immersive fallout. This mod changes a ton. Movement for all human characters will be slower and changes based on the type of weapon you're using. Sneaking, strafing and aiming will also slow your movement to give a more realistic game. A nice extra addition is that all NPCs will have the same movement speed as you. This makes some points of the game more enjoyable as you aren't waiting a lifetime for them to catch up. Whilst in power armor, you will move far slower due to the weight of the walking tank. However, the other movement factors are lessened, so carrying a big heavy gun won't cause you any extra issues. The creatures have been given their own special movement stats dependent on what they are. If they're big and strong, they will likely run fast but only in a straight line and cause you more damage. If they're small and light, they'll be nimble and run rings around you. There's a lot going on with creatures and it really improves the overall gameplay. But there is more going on when it comes to combat. Realistic recoil has been added to the game. In vanilla, the reticule will always pop back to the start. With this mod, you need to correctly manage that recoil. It makes weapon builds more varied as well, so you might prefer the lower damage for more stability on a gun now. When it comes to ADSing, not only will you move more slowly from the movement edits, you'll also find the zoom factor has been greatly decreased. This makes the weapons feel much better in close range, where in vanilla, most weapons really suffered. Scopes will still retain their numbered zoom factor, so you will be able to set up weapons for range if that's something that you need to do. The final mod in this gameplay setup is NPC Accuracy Adjust. I am a huge fan of this mod as everything else I'm using makes the enemies more deadly. Whilst that's fun, they do need their weaknesses too, or you just end up dying too fast. This mod will change the accuracy from each NPC based upon what they are. Super mutants have 30% accuracy, Atom has 20, Raiders have 20 to 30 with their bosses having 40 to 50%, Gunners have 35, Boss have 30 to 40%, DC Guards have 50% accuracy, Synths have 50 to 55 with Gen 1s being the less accurate. Robots have 50 to 55 with Assaultrons having 60, which is the same as the turrets. Finally, Elite Robots have 75 to 90% accuracy, which is just insane, but it doesn't quite end there. Snipers gain a 10% buff regardless of class, and Flamers gain a 20% buff. Essentially, a Raider boss could have 60% sniper accuracy or 70% hit rate with a Flamer. This mod, especially when coupled with the others, makes gunfights far more real and enjoyable. It's a good pairing with immersive Fallout, as it plays like them having that recoil as well. Every single enemy type you fight will require a slightly different strategy to win. The final thing I want to talk about in this build is the gas masks. Here, I've decided to go for the light version of 2287 gas masks. I did this to leave more space, as the main difference between the light and main file of this mod is the gas mask variants. They both have shaders, NPC scripts and mechanics that make the mod fantastic in an order like this. But at hundreds of megabytes smaller, the light file suited my needs that bit more. Personally, choosing 2287 for gas masks was easy. Picking between the files less so, as I wanted the full file, and if we had more reserve space would likely use it. This mod is extremely feature rich, and includes mechanics straight from Metro, such as a filter system requiring you to change them after an allotted time, which, don't worry, is somewhat set by you. An overlay set that shows damage, dirt and other visual obscurers dependent on what weather or event is happening outside. Again, these can be disabled if you don't like it, but you also get wipes and items to fix the problems. You'll find this mod changes the leveled list and is included in the hands of NPCs as well as enemies who may also have kits to fix or supply your mask. NPCs are given a script where they will put their masks on should the outside call for it, with things like radstorms. It's a really smart mod and it adds a ton to the order. That being said, it may also be considered a little heavy on Xbox because the scripts and extra items. Personally, I see this as worthwhile, but there are other options if you just want extra types of masks in the world. There is a lot I could talk about in this order. I've tried my best to make it look and perform as well as possible whilst making edits I deemed worthy. I've added in as much as I could. New subways to explore, a new metro mission, new types of enemies scattered around the map, and naturally a ton of new weapons that look and perform really well. But on top of this, I've also tried to use mods that have settings so you can adjust them to your specs. For example, NPCs travel. This mod in particular is great in a build like this because you can set up patrolling or roaming enemy groups to safely add more life to areas. This lets you set up how difficult you want your game to feel. Fallout 2287 has a similar story where you can edit how strict the system runs should you find it too hard or easy. I've also left some wiggle room for you to play around with so you can get the most out of the game how you want it to be. If you want to talk about any of this or get assistance with your own order, then I suggest coming and joining the Discord server. I intend on spending more time with Fallout to iron out some of the bigger issues in the game. If you have any suggestions, please leave those in the comments section. But this is the end of the video, so I'll do those classic lines. If this has helped, I would really appreciate those likes, comments, and of course subscriptions. They really help push my work out further with YouTube's algorithm. But either way, thank you for watching, and I do hope to see you in the next one.